Hello, Nicole. How's it going? Hello, hello. Debbie, Elizabeth, Nicole, Kristen, Carrie, Rebecca. How's it going?
Sybil, how are you?
I'm good. Are you guys excited that these calls are back on?
Yes, very.
Yay. How many of you went to Celebration?
I did.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah, lots of you? Good.
Yeah.
Somebody's having trouble with the deal. I have an Instagram page, but it's not a business page. Oh, a totally different subject. So I do a call that a few of you have popped over. I do a call on Wednesday nights from 5:30 to 5:50. So then we have a 10-minute window to get on this call. And so that's why I'm just now hopping on here. But anyway, I am going to be talking tonight when this call actually stops, which is in 3 minutes, about something that is near and dear to my heart, and that is community. So prepare yourself. I'm hoping that you guys are going to take some wicked mad notes. And of course, we're going to talk a little bit about the smoothie drop tomorrow and free membership. So we'll give it just a few more minutes. Anybody have just a quick question while we're waiting? Anybody? Just a totally off the cuff question. Somebody asked me just a second ago why the Instagram page needs to be a business page. So on this previous call that I was just on, we were talking about Instagram. And the reason that you really want to get an Instagram account is because Isagenix is going to start doing target marketing and start advertising on Instagram. So you want to have an Instagram account so that if you have a following and somebody sees one of these ads because they've been on Google looking at e-shots, that you're the person that they reach out to. So the reason that you want it to be a business account, from my understanding, is that unlike Facebook, it's, oh, Carrie, you listened to something. Oh, Facebook changes. Unlike Facebook, Instagram is really focused on it being okay to run a business. Facebook is not so much. Is that what you heard, Carrie?
What they were talking about is why we're only seeing, 25 people that see our page and everything. And they went through steps that you can take to kind of get around that. But they kept talking about your business Facebook page and versus your Facebook page. And so I'm really curious if we maybe need to think about doing a business Facebook page as well.
I will give you my 2 cents about that in 5 seconds here. Quite honestly, I'm scared that Facebook is so anti-business right now, that I don't want them to know that I'm running a business on my page. So I think that, if they were to ever really crack down, that would be those would be the first pages that they would just like delete. And where it's okay on Instagram, I kind of feel like we've got the best of both worlds.
Oh yeah.
I do have a fan page that I have built. That is when I hit my 5,000, I'm capped at 5,000, then I'll have people start following me on my fan page. And so it's already going. I've got a fan page called Health, Wellness, Fitness, and Fun with Sybil. And so that's another option for you too. Okay. So anyway, I don't know. I think I'm worried, about Zuckerberg and his kind of impulsive changes. But I guess we'll find out. And quite honestly, there are a lot of people that are, not huge fans of Facebook any longer. So I think that that's even more important to be growing a separate platform, such as Instagram, even though it's owned by Facebook. So it's kind of weird. But I think it's time that we get rocking and rolling, because my clock says straight up 6 o'clock in where I live in the 100-degree desert. So we are going to get started. My name is Sybil Imel, and I'm so excited that the SWAT calls are back. From the participation of this call tonight, I would have to say that you guys are too, because I'm just hearing all kinds of people, jingling in. So I'm so excited. And I think that the timing is perfect because just like I was saying on this previous call that I just hung up on, there's a number of people that invested, I don't know, how much do you think it costs to go to Celebration? Throw out some numbers, guys. Amanda Larson, Disney baby. How much did it cost you to go to Celebration? You're muted.
I don't know, probably we earned our hotel, so that helped. And
oh, yeah.
we got flew on miles, but still, like, all of that adds up, and then food and drinks. So I would think at least $1,000 for two or more.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. 12 or 1,200, 2,000. Okay, so that excites me. I mean, I'd still be okay if anybody said, 3,000, 5,000, because if you're like me, any investment that I make, I need to have a return on my investment immediately. I want to know that if I'm going to invest in going and the time away and the, the hotel costs and the flights and all that, and a lot of that is free if you're lucky enough to, earn the room or have a lot of frequent flyer miles, that you immediately plug in stuff that you learned and go for it. Earn it back fast. And I've never known another company that you literally could earn it back like the next week, and you can actually track it because of the PIBs. It's easy, right? And I'm not saying that it's easy to enroll people, but I'm easy to track how to earn it back. So what I'm finding out through a lot of these Zoom calls that I've been on today is that a lot of people have not implemented anything from Celebration. Anything. Like maybe they saw a really awesome cowboy hat, and so they've purchased it, but they haven't really necessarily implemented something into their business that is going to help them recoup that investment. And of course, it's a write-off, and that's all great. But what I thought we could talk about tonight was if you are part of that demographic, or maybe you had really high hopes and you had tons of stars by your notes, and you looked at your notes on your flight home, and you planned on coming back and implementing some wicked, mad, awesome ideas, but you haven't done it yet. I really want to talk about what that is, why, and how you might change that tomorrow. Of course, we all know that tomorrow is a big day. I've never known our company to ever drop 2 shakes and have free membership. I've never known them to drop 2 shakes flat out, but then on top of free membership. And if you are a cycle driven person, and really you should be, because that's kind of how we get paid, rank advancing tomorrow could be big. Really big if you do it right. And I think that we've had many SWAT team calls about how to do it right. So I'm not going to go into great detail about how to do a shake drop, or what we're calling a smoothie drop. I'm using that term because I learned it yesterday from Bailey Kirkpatrick, that she's been getting a lot of traction by using the word smoothie. I have too. I enrolled somebody today because I told her we had 2 new smoothies coming out tomorrow. And she was like, wow, sign me up. I'm like, okay, I will. So, be ready to implement some of these kind of like, buzzwords, change things up a little bit. And, and Carrie's just mentioning the ISA delivery, which is true. My daughter was getting a little cranky about ISA delivery, and she's like, Mom, that only means, it's really only a good deal if you order more than once a month. And I'm like, I live here. I don't have to go and even pay for delivery, but I'm still thrilled about ISA delivery because there's a number of times I don't want to go to will call. We have to pay $7.50. But in a day like tomorrow, where a person already has fulfilled their auto ship in the last 30 days, it's going to save them and actually kind of give them the justification to go ahead and order shakes. I mean, so many of our people probably go, oh, I'll wait until it's time for my next shipment. With free delivery and with all of this amazing announcements and stuff, why wait? Go in and get the shakes. And on my previous call, I was telling people that, you know, hopefully you've heard this already, but you should only be ordering 101 or 102 BB under your individual account. Everything else should be under your spouse or somebody else in your line, your cycle leg, so that like when you're looking at opening your husband's business center, in our case, you know, every single BV over 100 goes on his account, so that when we do open it, it's got more accumulated than the average account. It's, you know, like 3 years of orders for him. And it's not 100 BV because we order everything else under his account. So some months it's 300 BV, 400, 500 BV. So that will help us quite a lot. And the same thing is true for you guys. You only order 101, 102 under you. Everything else goes under somebody else on your cycle leg. You guys are doing that, right? That's basic. Okay. So what we're going to talk about tonight is building community and the importance of it and how it wraps back into implementing stuff that you may or may not have learned at Celebration, or that maybe you're learning now. Yesterday for me, I went to an event called Mastermind Mondays, and it's at Tanya Kirkpatrick's house, and her daughter taught us about Instagram. Well, I've already had an Instagram account, and I thought it was kind of fun to do fun pictures and all that, but I didn't realize really the power of it and why it was so important. But I would have never gone to that and learned about Instagram training if it hadn't been for her doing these Mastermind Mondays. We, in our Fit, Fearless, and Fun team, do something called Tribe Time. And that's something I'm very, very proud of. And I've always really followed Gabby Dean's philosophy of building community and fun and tribe and groups and collaborations and so on. But what if you're not part of that? What if you don't live here? What if you don't live in Boise, where, you know, we have another Tribe Time happening on Tuesday nights? What if you're not part of Mastermind Mondays? Is there any reason that you can't? Thank you, Amanda. I call Amanda Disney Baby, if you've ever heard me, because her eyes are like this big. But you create your own. And so there's somebody else out there that you could link arms with, and you could say, you know what? I'm tired of seeing these chicks having so much fun with their special zoodles recipes in Tribe Time at their Arizona, you know, gathering. Or I'm tired of these guys in Arizona getting all the fun, getting to go to Tanya and Jeremy's house. Well, why don't you link arms with somebody and create community? And I want to tell you why that's so important. Maybe it's going to be a virtual community even. Maybe you live in Hawaii. Maybe you live on an island where nobody else is there to do this with. But what if you actually had somebody that you enrolled? Maybe it's your mom. Maybe it's your first person that you ever enrolled. And you link arms with that person and you say, you know what? I'm going to do this, but I can't do it alone. I want you to do this with me. And the first event is just you and your mom sitting there talking about 600-calorie meals, or how you're going to do your next tasting, or how you're going to invite your whole neighborhood to come to something at your house. It's so much easier when it's part of a bigger thing, when you're part of something bigger than you, part of, you know, something bigger than just you sitting in your office kind of staring at the computer like, what do? I've got 60 things that I need to implement from Celebration, but I don't know the first thing to do. And what happens when you get so many people in a room that all have great ideas? You guys can collaborate. And that's really kind of how this whole SWAT team thing was formed, was the four of us got together at the Brendan Bouchard event, and we decided we're all doing team calls. Why don't we just collaborate and ease up our load a little bit? So it also kind of eases up your own load. It makes your job easier. When I was gone in Idaho over the summer, Tribe Time went on, even though I was out of town. So it's really something that I encourage you to do. And I'm really flattered by the fact that Tanya's doing it, because she said, Sybil, it was the missing link. It was the one thing that was missing. If a person enrolls on a Monday in our group, they automatically have a place to go on Tuesday. If a person enrolls on Sunday in Tanya's group, she automatically has a place for them to go on Monday, right? And what do you think would happen if you track the success of the people that go to those events versus just enroll and wait for their box to arrive and they're sitting on an island by themselves? I mean, there's some pretty powerful reports that could probably prove that those people are much more connected, much more aware, much more able to talk about products. Maybe at our tribe time, we even have people try the Rejuvenate lotions and of course the diffuser and the oils and the whey thins and stuff that normally wouldn't even go in their boxes, in their carts, right? So I really encourage you to understand the importance of it. The other thing that I really think is important to know is that if you ever look at why your team is not growing, or why your team is not stepping up, or why you don't have any builders on your team, it's just you and 25 product users, it's because they don't see any value in doing anything other than just ordering products. And why is that? Whose fault is that? Quite honestly, I would own it. If it were me that didn't have any builders, I just have all these people that all of these people that I've enrolled and I'm going through and I'm reaching back to them because their accounts have gone inactive. I'll own it. I would own the fact that I wasn't a leader when I enrolled this stack of people. And so I didn't know what I didn't know. And so the fact that I didn't, encourage them and mentor them is just something that I didn't know very much about. So I think it's really important that you understand that being a leader is posture. Being a leader is grit. Being a leader is bold. And if you enrolled 100 people in your first year and you didn't tell anybody about You Share, They Share, or Eat for Free Club, or whatever you want to call it, nobody really missed out on anything because they didn't know that there was actually somebody that was going to back them up. I mean, so many leaders are afraid to have to get the knowledge themselves. Like, I don't really want to know about whey protein because if I know about whey protein, then I'm going to become the authority. And then they're going to start reaching out to me at midnight on a Sunday night and ask me about our happy cows. Well, that's really not leadership. Leadership is setting your phone on privacy mode and then returning the text the next morning, right? Set yourself up to be the authority and gather all the information, but that doesn't mean that you're responsible to have to feed the entire company with this knowledge or have to go to everybody's tasting. And I think that that's what's holding people back, is they feel like they're up there by themselves. And when you're a part of a community, you're not by yourself. You can have people that can fill in for you. You can have other people that can do a three-way call with you if you have a community. And that's where people get to know each other. That's where you share ideas. That's where you share recipes. That's where you share how you do moving GIFs on Instagram. I had to learn from Disney Baby yesterday. And, but I'm not afraid to ask her. She's like 12 and I'm 52. And yesterday I felt like I was 80 because I didn't know about all these crazy stories and all this stuff. But she was so kind to come on over and say, here it is, Sybil, you just da-da-da-da. If we had not had that community, I wouldn't have felt comfortable in saying, I need help. I mean, I've been under a rock for a while, but I need some help. So I really want you to think, what could happen if you reach out to one other person, wherever you are, and form a community? And if you don't have them with you, what would happen if you reached out or reached across or met somebody at Celebration and said, I want to start doing some sort of something on my business page and have it streaming live, or I want to start doing tribe time on a Zoom call, and because we're all in different areas and somebody's in charge of making a recipe or so on. What I really found though is that people who are a part of a community are so much more willing and able and more apt to implement new ideas. So what do you guys think about that, knowing that, maybe you're living in a place that, there isn't anybody else. Maybe you don't really feel that connected to your leader. How do you guys feel about that? How could you do that? Unmute yourself if you've got some thoughts or some questions or concerns or some ideas. And I want to hear if that excites you, if it makes you feel like it's not just you, like it's not just me. I could do this. If I had one other person go with me, we could go to the mall and we could enroll the lady at the makeup counter if it's not just me. So how do you guys feel about that? Let's hear it. Who's going to speak up? Somebody. Yes, Alicia in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah.
Not an island.
I'm on a little tiny island. I love that idea, and I've struggled with this for a long time because although I'm in Hawaii and I do have some clients here, the majority of the people that I work with are all over the world. I'm also a veteran, so I have a ton of people even like in deployed locations. So my struggle's always been with finding, like, I want to do Zoom calls, with my team, but like the time zone thing is just stupid. So trying to figure out what works in my life to be able to do it and works with other, it's kind of impossible. I know I have to narrow it down and maybe record them, I guess.
I've got an idea.
Okay.
So have you ever heard of a progressive dinner?
Yeah.
Like you start at a house and you have your appetizer, and then the next one you have a main dish and a salad and a soup or whatever. What if you did a progressive collaboration? So you do videotape it, and so then not videotape. I'm 80. What if you do a digital recording, and then you actually add on to it, somebody else. So it all very, very easily be planned the week before or whatever. And you're going to open it up with the, in my tribe time, our tribe time, it's usually recognition. Then we do kind of like what's hot, what's not. Then we do a connection piece, and then we end with recipe. You could implement those 4 things in 4 different video segments that you did the first thing. And then Sally Smith, who lives in Korea, did the second thing. And then June Smith, her sister, lives in New Zealand, and she does the 3rd segment or whatever. And then you put them all together, and then the whole team could watch them on a Vimeo. Do you like that idea?
I like it.
Because why not, right? There's no reason to let time zones get in our way. My husband works for a company in the UK, but yet they have projects all over the globe. I find him getting up at 5 a.m. to do a lot of his kind of calls. 5 a.m. seems to be, the end of one country's time zone, but yet the start of another. So there is going to be a time that does work for people. But if you do it on a progressive video, then they can also tune in, later. It's kind of like Marco Polo. You record it when you're able. They watch it and they're able. So it might work really well. So that's a thought there. But I think if you don't have time zone issues, which really I think we all do, like I live here in Arizona, so half of the year I'm an hour behind my team in Idaho. And so that presents a little bit of an issue, but it's an hour, so not a big deal. And it's only for 6 months. But I want you to think again, how many of you feel that, like, if you're at a restaurant with other Isagenix people, you're a little bit more ballsy? Do you feel like you're a little bit more like, I'm at a restaurant and I'm going to be the first one that talks to this waiter because he's one heck of a waiter. He's giving awesome customer service. But if it were just you and your husband, would you be as apt to go, hey, dude, you're so good at what you do. You must love your job. Do you plan on being in this job for the next 5 years? Or would you be open to a conversation where I could show you that you could actually get paid what you're worth? I mean, that's ballsy, right? And it would be kind of hard. Sometimes I don't necessarily want to be on. And if I'm with my husband, then he probably wants to just have a date. And Sybil, I know he's awesome, but could you just come back tomorrow and talk to this guy? But if you're with your chick friends and you're with your tribe, you're like, who's going for it? I'm going to be the first one that talks to him. Or, I mean, for some reason, we get a little bit more courage, right? And it's not always margaritas that makes it happen. It's really and truly the partnership and knowing that these other chicks have got your back. Like, how many of you have enrolled your Uber driver when you've been at an Isogenics event? How many? How many of you? And you haven't enrolled an Uber driver since. So like, I take Uber to and from will call because I want them to go, what are we doing going on Gilbert Road? And I'm like, oh, we're going to go pick up my groceries. And then I try to get a different Uber driver to drive home. I've got these boxes of food. Of course, I give it to them, but it's not as easy. Even though I'm taking them to our corporate headquarters, it's easier for me to enroll an Uber driver in San Antonio, Texas, who drove me 2 blocks to the darn event, because I'm so jazzed up. I'm so excited, and I've got 3 chicks in the back going, yeah, you should enroll. It's so great. And we do this and we have this kind of fun. And you've got all, you've got this committee of people with you. And so it becomes something that you're much more comfortable with. And I find the same to be true. Like if you ever were to take your tribe to the mall on a field trip, what do you think your chances of enrolling people that day would be? Or to bust out of your normal self, where you're hiding behind your purse, or you don't have those conversations. You're much more apt to do it when you're with a group of other people that are like-minded and all kind of have that same goal. So I wrote down some different ways of doing this stuff and different reasons that would be helpful. But how many of you don't even have like a weekly Zoom call with your leader, let alone you doing it with your team? Are there still a bunch of you kind of out on an island somewhere? How many of you would say that you're out there? Yeah, Roz. So that's I think why people are so Melissa, total island. That's why it's so important that you form these collaborations. And I'm not financially connected with Lindsay. We were enrolled the exact same month by the exact same person, but we're not connected because we're on 2 opposing legs. But it's really awesome to help each other. And then this year we decided to reach out to everybody that was enrolled by my enroller and my enroller's enroller on the left side, because once you become an Isogenics millionaire, they don't really build on that leg anymore. It's not expected, right? But what happens to all those people that they put over there? So we formed a collaboration called Left Side Launch, which is all of the people that share that leg with us. And now they're getting directed. So there's a collaboration of ideas and direction finally that's happening. But if we were all local, it would be really fun to have them come to Tribe Time. And I'm trying to keep them aware of every single thing that I'm doing already with my team, because why not? Isn't that the epitome of working smarter, not harder, is to just build them in and funnel them into what I'm already doing. So I think that, coming back from Celebration, people were overwhelmed. It was a lot. It was fun. It was a lot of fun stuff crammed into very few days. And that overwhelming feeling for a lot of people paralyzes them. But if you had a group, a community that they could all come to and say, oh my gosh, I have so many ideas, but I don't even know where to start. There would be somebody else that would say, well, I felt that same way, but guess what I started doing? I started doing X, Y, Z. So it just becomes this really awesome organic way of everybody kind of feeling stupid at the same time. And everybody saying, well, let's just face it, we're overwhelmed, but let's make one step today. Let's do a blitz today. Our Tribe Time in Boise, Idaho, they're all doing 20 and 30. So what they're doing is they talk for the first hour about different things that happened really well that week, different ways that they're reaching out, different objections that they're getting. And so they're able to kind of train on how to overcome those things. And then the second hour, they're blitzing. They're going into different corners of the room and different rooms in the house and actually making those reach outs and those calls. So, a gathering could be a working time or a field trip, like I said. But really fun ideas have come from things. I mean, like with the essence and the oils, I'm not an oil girl. I've never been one, but I'm gathering really fun ideas from other people that are familiar with the oils. So I really want you to think about how that could look for you, what that could do for you. If you are local and you live kind of close to Chandler, Tempe, Mesa, Gilbert, wherever, I want you to consider coming to Tribe Time. It's during the day. It's 10 a.m. on Tuesdays. This next full month of September is going to be here at my house, but we move around kind of Gilbert, Mesa, Chandler area. But if you don't live here and you don't live in Boise, think about that. I mean, look at the participants on this call right now. There's 50 people here. Take a screenshot of it, reach out to them and see if they live close by you. You can actually just go on and ask the question. You could write it in the chat right now if you are in a certain area and you're wondering who might live close to you that might be interested in collaborating. But that's really, Florence, Arizona. I've heard of it. I don't think it's too far from, how far is it from Phoenix? Florence, Arizona. Anybody know?
They're only about 35, 40 minutes from us, so.
Yeah, I think it's where Country Thunder is. And that's not a very far drive at all from my house. We took Hunt Highway to Country Thunder. I live right off of Hunt Highway. So if you live in Florence, Arizona, you're welcome to come. Laguna, California. I am not from California, but I bet somebody else is. Central Florida, Denver. Okay, good. Who else? Is there anybody else on this call that lives in Denver, or you know of people that live in Denver, or you have enrolled people in Denver? Wouldn't it be awesome to connect them with Jenny Zook? She's a rock star. Salt Lake City. Yes, I'm coming there, Karen. So Karen lives in Salt Lake City, Sandy, Ogden, yeah, all of those places. We've been out there to do events. Do any of you have people that live in Utah? Somebody in Wisconsin, Northern Pennsylvania? So I think, obviously, we're all, I think, descendants of Trudy Maple's Inspiring Biz page. That might be a great place to ask this question. I'd love for you to ask it on my page, but I don't think that we'd have as much feedback and as many people that could actually try to connect us together. But I wouldn't mind starting a post on Inspiring Biz, and from it, you guys could all list these places, and before you know it, maybe somebody would answer and say, yeah, I just enrolled somebody that is interested in linking arms. So maybe that's the best way to do it. Can you imagine? Let's do it on Free to Be. We could. That's Tanya's page. So anyway, with that being said, since we're all Peoria, I was just in Peoria. That's about an hour from here. Anyway, the other thing that you have to realize is that it's not going to be super convenient. If this is important to you, you might have to drive. And you might have to drive once a month, an hour, but then the carpool gets to be fun. And that's kind of, again, how Tribe Time got started, is we all were going to fast track together. So I'll post it on both Inspiring Biz and Free to Be Biz, and then we'll see what we can do as far as connecting people. How does that sound? Everybody's up for that? Yay. And if you live close to here, then you're kind of lucky, because we're adding a whole bunch of additional leaders to our Tribe Time here. If you're ever visiting Arizona, I live really close to corporate, so you could just swing into a Tribe Time. If you live anywhere close to Boise, Idaho, Nampa, Meridian, they're doing Tribe Time in Meridian right now. So anyway, with that being said, it's exactly 6:30. SWAT teams calls are back. Lindsay's already working on content for next Wednesday, so it's going to be amazing. I want you guys to really capitalize on Smoothie Drop tomorrow, and really, really reach out to people and let them know how important it is. And I'm talking about the people that you've already enrolled, that they really take advantage of free membership, 2 different flavors of shakes, the ISA delivery is amazing. It's going to be amazing. So anyway, collaboration, even if it's one, you and your mom, it's still a tribe. How's that? All right. So reach out and grab the first person, second person, 17th person that you enrolled and start a community. Thank you guys so much for joining. I'm really excited to see what this next series brings. Keep on keeping on. Bring other people to this call. There's probably nothing worse than you hearing one of us say something and you're like, dang, Susie needed to hear that. She wasn't on the call. I wish she'd join us. Reach out and make her join you next Wednesday, okay, you guys? Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your night, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday. Bye.
Thanks,
Thank
Sybil.
you.
Thanks,
Thanks, Sybil.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Thanks, Sybil. See ya.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.